Welcome to the East Hampton Library's Tom Toomey series, and let's get down to business. Our speakers tonight are East Hampton Town and Village historian Hugh King and Bess Rattray, who is a 13th generation East Hamptonite, an East Hampton Star columnist.
Get applause for that.
And
Yes, 13th generation.
Society chairwoman and founder.
All right, everybody. Can everybody hear me with this funny little mic? Okay. The first thing I want to say is thank you so much for coming. And the motivation for doing this actually came from Andrea. And really the idea was that everyone loves to engage in nostalgia and think back about what the village used to be like and think about all the things that we wish were still here and all of that. And so we thought it would be really fun to just put together almost like a virtual walking tour. But the other motivation was because I'm involved in a nonprofit where we're trying to encourage people to think positively that it's possible to bring back a little bit more of the diversity of businesses that used to be in the village. You know, we've become a bit of a monoculture with luxury. So that was the motivation. Hugh, anything to add to that?
I agree with everything Bess said.
And the other thing is we wanted to make it super clear that we're aware there's people in the audience who know better than us what some of these buildings are and what some of the businesses were, and there's going to be horrible, egregious mistakes. Is Dennis here from the library?
No, he ran because he knew you were going to make mistakes.
I was going to say, if it's wrong, blame Dennis.
Yeah, right.
Or hold the heckling for later because we are going to try and move fairly quickly.
Yeah, at the end when we asked, for example, Olivia Brooks is here, and her father ran the music store, so she's going to say a few things about working there as she was 12 years old. That's the kind of thing we'll do at the end. Don't tell us your life story, okay? Because we want to give as many people as a chance, okay? All right, take it away.
Off we go. So I actually don't know that much about this slide. I think it's 81 Main Street with the sort of blue, the second with, I think that's white, and it's, I think it's around 1890s. That building had been there probably 20 years by now, by then, by the time this postcard was taken. Really briefly, some of the things that we learned when we were going through all these old pictures, is that 100 years ago, stores were still mingled with houses in the village. There were the remnants of this agricultural society, and you can see in the picture, it's kind of an agricultural landscape. Up at the top there, which is actually east, you can see a field over where by Egypt Lane-ish zone. And you can see that there's no Rue de Chan parking lot. This is around the 60s before the Rue de Chan parking lot came in. We also learned, you know, as I was saying, that there was just a greater variety of things going on in the village. There were pool halls, and there were bars, and there were, you know, kids gathering to do things together in a way that has sort of not happening anymore as it became more privatized and commercial rather than public spaces. And the other final thing that we're going to end with at the end is that because the businesses were mom and pops, they sort of collaborated together a lot on fun projects like the Santa's Gold Rush that I'm sure you all remember so fondly, some of you. Okay, so I'm going to say a few words about the first few slides, then we're going to bounce it back and forth. I wanted to start by saying that the boundaries of the business district 100 and 120 years ago weren't as firm. Like, they weren't as defined. So for example, down by Guildhall, by Pondview Lane, by the north wing of Guildhall at Pondview Lane, there was this meat and seafood market. And similarly, this is the East Hampton Star building next door when it was a drugstore. And I just thought this was funny because you can see they were selling drugs and guns. Yeah.
Go ahead. What was on the second floor?
What was on the second floor here?
Remember, there was a phone exchange down there, right?
Oh, you're right. That's right.
One time. And what's the Star's phone number? 0002.
That's true. East Hampton 2.
Who's got number one? Strong agents, right? The Strong family got 0001.
Yeah. I know a lot of us are still hanging on to the landline because it's like East Hampton 273. It feels like it's prestigious or something. It's my great-grandfather selling guns and drugs. This is next to Clinton Academy, right, where the townhouse was, Hugh?
This is the Otto Simmons plumbing shop, and this is one of the great Frank Dayton. Has a lot of these great pictures, you know, the great Frank Dayton. And in there, there's a toilet, And in the tank, there was a bottle of liquor.
So the good old days. It wasn't all so innocent.
Yeah, right.
This is a picture, obviously, of the Old Barn Bookshop, and that's just to say that there were remnants of this agricultural past. There still are in the village. For example, some of you know this as the Parsons House. It was one of the original, I guess, original settlers' houses from the 1700s. And when they turned it into a Ralph Lauren children's store, they were like, oh, gosh, we've got a very historic house here, and they did preserve it. Anyway, that's just to say houses, barns were all mixed in with businesses once upon a time. Okay, so we're going to start at the intersection of Main Street and Newtown Lane, and there's Hook Mill. And on the left is where Rose Drugs was, the entrance to Newtown Lane. And I think that's 1890s-ish. And there it is today.
Yeah, but go to the next one then. Oh,
There
no.
we go.
Yeah, and then one more after that.
So this is the corner of Newtown Lane again, where Rose eventually was. And here's, go ahead, Hugh.
There's Rose Pharmacy, right? Right on the corner. Okay, Casper Rowe owned that, all right? Well, eventually, Bill Bain took over the business, right? Now, there's a reason for this story. So, Bill Bain is living up above the pharmacy, right? Florence, his wife, is pregnant, okay? So, he's supposed to go into the city for this event, something to do with the Army, okay? 3 houses down is Dr. Edwards' house, right? Dr. Edwards said he'd give $1,000 if he could deliver triplets, all right? So now they're in the city. Bill Bain's in there with Florence. She says, uh-oh. So they start heading back. They go past Southampton Hospital and come back to the pharmacy. She starts having 1 child. Here comes another child. They call up Dr. Succi. They call up, who was the pediatrician? Dr. Zanger, okay? And meanwhile, a second child comes and a third child comes, and it's a good thing they were at the pharmacy because Bill Bain kept going up and down the stairs for supplies, okay? And then the triplets are born, all right? 3 houses down is $1,000. And they never called Dr. Edwards. And the other reason I want to tell you this story is, Beth will tell you this, people lived above these stores on Main Street in Newtown Lane, and they were living up there. All right.
Yeah, that's right. And this car belonged to the Marasca family, and that's obviously the 1938 hurricane. And the Marasca family, some of you will know better than me, but I believe they ran a tonsorial parlor barber shop at one point. I thought this was funny. It's sort of a more things change moment. The Rose Pharmacy was in trouble for having a neon sign, and the ads were really entertaining. I just love this ad for Mother's Day with the crown and like gift ideas for mother from the pharmacy. Just a little extra in there. So of course, obviously on the other side of that main intersection, we've got the VFW. And we just wanted to point out how that used to be sort of a community space. It's wonderful that it is a family business with, London Jewelers, and that's a wonderful business. But it used to be used, obviously, for veterans affairs, and also somebody here in the audience told me that Harriet told me, Edwards told me that growing up, the soldiers would come during World War II, and they would come from Montauk in trucks, and they would park the trucks in what was an empty lot, I guess where Cinderella's was. And the sound of that, when they were done bowling or drinking in the basement of the VFW, they'd crank up the engines of the trucks again, and it would like rumble the whole house awake. Anyway, I just thought we wanted to point that building out.
Well, wait a minute. How did it get there? In 1894, they built a school on Newtown Lane. It was called the Union School. And there were 2 buildings. There was a wooden building and a brick building. And then in 1924, when they built where the present middle school is, that was the high school, they put the brick building into the new school, and the Masons moved this building down the street, and it became Masonic Hall, and that's where those pillars came from. And then there were 4 bowling alleys, and I think there were phone booths out in the front. Remember them?
Yeah.
Phone booths?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's some high school students who are lining up to give blood inside the VFW, 1977.
You know, I thought they were cigarettes, but they're not. I think they're thermometers.
Thermometers,
have in-
maybe.
I thought they're. And I'm going to give a shout out to V&J. That's Vivian Smith. Got the frame shop up on Gingerbread Lane. I'm getting 10% off now.
Okay, so now we're going to go down Newtown Lane, and I guess most people in the room know that Main Street is more or less north and south, not east and west. So anyway, south side of Newtown Lane. Here's the big corner. This is when it was above the potatoes in 1993. And, you know, there was a lot of history in this building. There was also a telephone company upstairs here as well, right, Hugh?
Mm-hmm. Julia Loper was up there. Julia Loper was I'll just do a quick. Julia Loper was an operator up there, and after her shift was over, she came back down to Abrams Landing Road, where I lived, and proceeded to tell Alice Kelsey everything that went on during the phone call.
I don't remember this one. It was the Trudy shop, but I'm told that was a very popular women's clothing store, you know, on the corner there. And here it was when it was Cartier. Some of you might remember there was a bit of a kerfuffle when they had doormen briefly outside wearing red uniforms and pillbox hats, and it happened. And here's when it was Engel Pottery.
And you know what happened to her? The landlord decided that he was going to raise her rent and include the basement as part of her building where she stored things. That's why she moved down the street, right?
Rent hike.
Yeah, rent hike. Counting the basement as part of the thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Bohack.
Bohack, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Fire station. And one of the things that was pointed out too is that a lot of the things like EMS and, well, no, not EMS because that didn't start till the 70s, but the fire service was certainly supported by the fact that so many men were working in the village and who were, you know, working in different shops and could run to the firehouse at the drop of a hat. So if the alarm went out, people would pour out of buildings.
What's on the top of that building? You know, it says Maidstone Fire District, and it's still there. Still there. No, that's next door, Lily.
So here's
Police station, right?
police station. So this is just before it was, I think, you know, the front was sort of changed and demolished. And Gucci.
But Maidstone Fire is still up at the top. They didn't let them take it away.
Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting one. It's the Village restaurant run by Speed King. And some cute ads.
There were 3 Kings restaurants, right? Speed's, Remen Mills, and the Marmador. They're all run by the King family. Yeah.
We thought I hope you all enjoyed the Marmador menus that we left on the seats.
Ham and peanut butter is coming up next. So.
Yes, our refreshments afterwards will be ham and peanut butter. Or the Golf Girls Sundae. I want to know what that was.
So wait a minute. This is not Augie's where Augie's Barbershop was? This? I think this is Augie's.
This is Augie's Barbershop, yeah.
What does Augie's Barbershop have to do with Sunnydale Acres? I was in there getting a haircut, and I wound up buying a building lot for $2,500. You paid $50 a month, and if I went in the service, I didn't have to pay. And then when you built your house, Augie would go down and pave your driveway for you. That was part of it, too.
Tony's Sports Shop. And here's a favorite moment because it's kids painting the windows for Halloween.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Dreesen's, of course. It's cut off at the bottom there, but I think Dreesen's was from 1927. It opened originally and went all the way up until 2002, 2004, I guess it was. It says right there. Anyway. Okay, now we have reached the hardware store. Yeah, East End Hardware. And before that, it was known as the White Hardware Store and Paint Store. In my day, I remember the upstairs having sleds, Yes.
Train sets, which I never got.
Yeah.
My sister you had your skates sharpened there, right?
Skates.
You could-
We had our ice boat blades sharpened there in the back.
And then Mrs. Tillinghast had a store up on the other side, right? Needlepoint store, yeah, right. Yeah. Oh boy, there it
This is a favorite one. So this is Loris's pool room, which I guess was basically by the entrance to the Rudershan parking lot where the East Hampton Hotel was. And it's just amazing to me that there was a pool room right there. And oh, I didn't mean to jump on. I don't even want to see the pool room again. Anyway, there's the pool room. And Halsey's garage. Yeah. And I thought this was super interesting because there were pictures of this machine shop at Halsey's garage. So there were cars being sold. There were men doing, engine work. It was where Stop and Shop is now, right there. And so it's just very interesting. There was a mix of like light industrial. There were gas pumps, right, Hugh, on a couple spots in the village. So you could get gas right in the village. So it was this mix.
In front of Tony's Sport Shop, right? Across the street, yeah, there's a gas station over there. That's right.
Yeah.
I wasn't there that long ago, Bess.
And here is the early days of the parking lot. I think this is early 70s. I'm not exactly sure of the date. But you can see kids playing up at the top. And there were quite a lot of trees at the time. And this is when it was really obviously sort of the back of town, and that's really changed now. This has sort of become where we shop a little bit more back on the parking lot as opposed to right on the main street facing Newtown or Main. Okay. Oh, Rocking Wells. So that's right behind this was behind the Mark IV and Strike store after the Mark IV and Strike store moved to that end. Yeah, John Pappas today.
Was there anything there before Rocking Wells? No? Okay.
I remember it being an ice cream parlor briefly. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Now we're going to go back up the north side of Newtown Lane. We're starting with the Percy Skank House, which right up until around 1981, I think, was a house, and there was what there? There was farm animals, right, Hugh?
What was in the front yard? Cow. Cow in the front yard when I went to school.
Cow in the backyard.
Out in the backyard too? Okay.
So this was pretty much the last farmhouse in the actual village, and that was all the way up until like around 1980, 81, which is so interesting. And here it is today, 66 Newtown Lane. Okay. So I think Hugh can tell better than I can, but that building has had a lot of uses. Post office, Village Hall, the post office cinema, Dean and DeLuca, the Barefoot Contessa.
The town offices were up there, the court system, there was a court up there, police headquarters were up there, right? Town police were up there, yeah.
I heard a cute story from Barbara Borsak that walking home from school, they would go in the post office and just stick their hand in and get a stamp on the hand and walk out, just for the fun of it. Yeah. And here's when it was Dean and DeLuca, which really was a landmark gourmet store. It was one of the first of its kind in the whole country. That's the cheese counter. I have the names of these people if anyone wants to discuss later. Here we go, diamonds.
Oh, diamonds. Oh, all right.
I'm aware that they had two locations, but.
Well, my sisters told me this. I didn't know this. They both graduated from East Hampton High School, and they said when the girls graduated from East Hampton High School, they got a miniature hope chest as a gift, right, from diamonds. I never heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another adorable ad. And here we have Sam's Restaurant.
All right. Bess found this out. I didn't know this. Sam was from the Brooklyn, I think, and he married Tony Rose's daughter. And Tony Rose had that store to the left. So after Tony Rose's daughter married Sam, they wind up with Sam's restaurant. I think that's how it got there.
Yeah.
There
That's
was
right, a shoe repair shop.
Shoe repair
The Rose
shop,
family
thank
had
you,
shoe
that's right.
repair
Yeah.
cobblers. And there was an interesting report from wartime in the newspaper about how he was doing a really great business because they weren't getting new shoes and everyone was having their shoes repaired during war. Yes, the only neon sign.
You know, Sam Nasker Jr. died young, in an automobile accident, I think, right? And we had a teacher in East Hampton High School, Miss Orlando. All the boys were in chorus, whether they could sing or not, okay? Miss Orlando was so talented, she gave concerts at Guildhall. And I think she left here after 2 years, and I think she was engaged to Sam Nasker Jr. I'm not sure, but when we had our reunion, the 50th reunion, she was the only teacher who came. So Carol Bromley comes to take a picture, and he goes, "Which one's the teacher?"
Oh.
She still looked great.
We've delved into inappropriate remarks here at our talk. So this is what it was, Newtown Cafe, and some might remember it as Eddie's Luncheonette.
Oh, yeah.
Hugh and I found it entertaining to remember that when you were in middle school back in the day, you could leave the premises and go wandering up street and get lunch wherever you wanted, and nobody was monitoring you. And I would go into it when it was Eddie's Luncheonette to get a grilled hot dog. They sliced it open on the grill, and a Coke in the Coke glass with ice. And none of my friends wanted to do it, so I would eat that and then go back to the middle school.
Well, Eddie's Luncheonette was one of those places. You know, men used to congregate at Fromm's in Amagansett. My father would go there. Then at 6 o'clock in the morning, they'd be Bob Otto and others down here solving all the problems. And then up at the Golden Eagle, the guys would go up there and meet. It was this procedure that would happen in the mornings.
Yeah, morning world problem solving.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Diamonds was where the bank is now, the low bank by the parking lot entrance. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where Diamonds was. We'll have to solve that afterwards. Right now, is this not the Golden Pear now? I believe so. Hey, it's Oddfellows Hall in 1900. Look at the view. One of my favorite topics that I constantly go on about in my column in the newspaper is that there used to be wide views because we used to have these open vistas, and that the more things got built up, it isn't even so much the house, it's the landscaping. So you can't see the horizon, or you used to be able to see from the village all the way to the ocean. And I just love seeing these old pictures where pretty much the only place left like that is the golf course at Maidstone Club.
Oh, very historic building. You'll talk about your...
Is it like a club? No. Yes, this is an example of a social club that was...
It's like the Masons, the Lions, not the Lions, but this...
Like a Rotary Club, a Masons Club, a members club.
Yeah, the first meeting to decide to incorporate the village of East Hampton took place at Clinton Academy, but the first election of village officers took place in Oddfellows Hall. In 1927, when the village decided to buy Home Sweet Home, the election took place at Oddfellows Hall. It was a polling place, and then it was used as a school. When the school got crowded, right? They sent the kids down here.
I don't know if you can hear me. My little microphone thing died. Anyway,
Gordon.
Thank you for the new microphone. Members Club. So yeah, again, this is another example of a public space become sort of a privatized commercial space. Oh, but before we get there, here's when Gordon Peavy's dance studio was upstairs. And it was owned by Deborah Perry Light, the building at that time. And I know there was a dark room at the very back of this building as well that some teenagers used. And I spent an awful lot of time in this space. Dancing. And of course, it was Chanel, and now it's
Sutton, the famous historic landmark Sutton.
I'm confused. I thought it was Rolex watches now.
I don't know. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's going to be Rolex watches, yeah.
Good, good.
Anyway, it's a beautiful building. Yeah. So now we're going to go along Main Street. Hey, it's the Bohack store. But apparently this is the second location of Bohack store. This is the one where Cinderella's was, I believe. And again, a really fun ad. The ads were very entertaining. I don't know the exact date of the car accident, but that's something that seems to happen with regularity. Edwards Theater. What do you have to say, Hugh?
Okay, well, you look at all the other businesses were around as with theater, right? Scribner's, the Marmador, was that the Kip Shop? Then there was 2 surveyors upstairs, Bass and Wood. And then there was a Madeline beauty shop, I think, was up there too. And this is the place, okay? Donnie McDonald's daughter's here, so I'm going to tell this story. Okay?
Uh-oh.
During the Depression, of course, everybody needed money. So Donnie McDonald lived up on Pleasant Lane. He and his friends would go behind the Cavernaro's store up there, get the bottles out of there to redeem them, and then go in the front of the store, redeem them, and then go down to the movie theater. One guy would buy the ticket. The others would go around the side. Remember, there were doors all the way down at the end. Open the door, and they'd crawl in, and that's how they got to the movie.
That is a time-honored tradition, opening the side door of the East Hampton Movie Cinema. There was also Chez Labatt restaurant, which, here's the Marmador menu, which you've all seen already. That was dated around 1958. And here's Chez Labatt. After the fire in 1964, you can see that something bad has happened.
Didn't it burn down twice? Only once? Okay, sorry. Okay. Oh,
This would be sort of
offices.
Yeah, it was Chez Labatt on the side where the O'Malley's was, where the Muse is.
Yeah, right next to the movie theater. The driveway went down in between them.
Somebody says it's on the other side. We'll debate it later. They had very entertaining ads too in French and so on. Okay, west side of Main Street. The Black Whale and the News Co. Here we go. Here's the other post office. And I like this picture because behind the kids on the sidewalk, you can just see the edge of one of the barber shops. And I've heard from a couple sources that underneath the barber shop in the basement, again, was some sort of pool hall, beer den, where gentlemen went. And I just think that's so funny to think, we think of the past like so naive. In fact, there was a lot more going on than sort of there might be on a given night now. Here's another view when the carriage met the automobile. I don't know, Hugh, was that a bank? I know it was Village Hall at one point.
Wait a minute.
And
This
Osborne.
is this 27 Main Street?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, 27 Main Street was the bank, and then it was the village headquarters before they bought the Beecher House. And Stuart Cordy told me that as a Boy Scout, they were in the basement. They used to have their meetings in the basement. And the police were in the back of 27 Main Street. They had their offices back there.
Yeah. This is another view, and I added this just to say this is around 1900. So the LVIS had been founded, but they were originally founded to sort of clean up the mess of the roads and the sidewalks, and you can see why, because it's muddy or dusty in a lot of these old pictures.
They used to hire a water wagon, right? The LVIS
to
used
sprinkle the
take-
streets, yeah. Okay, so here's the original Edwards Theater, and this is a very entertaining thing that's happening in this image. Do you want to tell it, Hugh?
This is where Kelly's Liquor Store was. Now it's that historical landmark Compass, right? But there was a movie about, was it?
Down to the Sea and Ships, which was about whaling.
So these whaling captains, ex-whaling, went to see it, and they were laughing during the entire movie because they got it all wrong, according to them, anyway.
Yeah, it was 1922, and this is a family story in my family too. That they were like, ah, ha, 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 ha. even later there was one with Gary Cooper or something doing Moby Dick, and they actually went, and it's just so funny that history collided with modernity and the movies like that. I love this picture. It's a crowd on Main Street for that moment. Here's the bargain box and Pets Painted with Love. That's Frank, who some of you may remember as the manager of the bargain box. Good memories there. Here we go. We've got, I believe it's Hagedorn's Music Shop on the right. Am I right, Olivia? And then the specialty shop that was then after this, Whimsies. So this is dated, I think this is late 60s or early 70s. And maybe the specialty shop, was that not cheese? Or have I got that wrong? Oh, it was women's clothing. See, I knew there was going to be a moment where you all had to throw tomatoes at us. Here's when Whimsies was torn down in 1980, and that was to make way for Eastman Way. Whimsies was a sort of a novelty store that had toys, and it had coffee beans and penny candy and housewares from Sweden. It was, yes, that was the Johans family. Here, of course, is Eastman Way as it's now been renamed East Hampton Square today, and it's been very, they've made a big effort to make it of a gathering place, which is a very nice civic-minded effort. And, of course, the bookstore. All right, Hugh, here is the shoe store, East Hampton Shoes. This is the 1940s.
McElroy, right? So in the store, there was an x-ray machine, and you put your feet into it, right? And you could tell how far it went. And then this woman down at the senior center told me the story. She had a child, and his legs were deformed, so each foot was a different size. So she went to McElroy's to buy some shoes, and she thought she was going to have to buy two pairs of shoes because the kid's feet was different. So you know what he did? He went to the front window, and he took out one of the samples he had there, and he gave it to her. So she didn't have to buy two pairs of shoes. And here's McElroy's other story. He's on the village board, okay? Well, he decides, you know what? I'm going to sell the store, get out of business. I can spend more time on the village board. So here comes the village election. Joe Dunn, remember him? Well, he shows up. He's running for office. Or he's not running for office, but he shows up, and he sees hardly anybody's voting. Calls up 30 of his friends. They go down, write his name in. He wins. McElroy's out.
The more things change. Here's a nice sentimental picture. Marley's Stationery and the Whitman Galleries. I have really fond memories of Marley's because my family had a charge account there for the East Hampton Star newspaper. So my entire childhood, every single day, I would go in and get a Hershey bar and a Charms Blow Pop. And I would say, charge it. And they wouldn't say a word. And so I had candy every day my entire childhood, which I think was really nice that they didn't blow the whistle on me. And Whitman Galleries, I remember for buying a mood ring in there in the 70s.
Didn't the woman who worked there have pink hair? No? Okay, never mind. I just can't remember that, so I remember that.
We'll discuss the pink hair after.
Yeah, later. Thank you, Beth.
Okay, these are early ads for the Epstein store.
Oh, boy.
Couldn't find an image of that store. We tried and tried, but we did find some ads. Take it away, Hugh.
Okay, every story you hear about Mrs. Epstein is the same. All right? You go in the store, it's a mess, right? And the only person who could find anything is her. And she knew everybody's size, right away. So my sister goes there with my father to buy my mother some shoes. Wait a minute, let me get this right. Stockings. So Mrs. Epstein goes, what's her name? Louise King. Oh, I know that size. She went and got the stockings right away and gave them to my mother. I mean, my father to take home. But Mrs. Epstein's story doesn't end there because it's 1956. Her husband has died. It's December 14th. She's closed the store. She's walking home, goes down Main Street, makes a left on Newtown, crosses the tracks by Sherrill Road, going down the street with $5,000 in her box, plus bank certificates, and other payroll things. This young man comes by, grabs the box, takes off. She screams, doesn't work. She goes to the hitching post. The hitching post was where the cleaners were, right up there on Newtown Lane across from Albies. There was a bar then. She knocks on the door. They come out. They call the police. Nothing. She offers a reward for $1,000. They didn't find it until months later. They found it down in Hans Creek someplace. They found everything but the cash. Okay? Now you think that's the end of the story. 6 years later, Mrs. Epstein's coming home, going down Sherrill Road, goes in the front door of her house. Somebody grabs her from behind. And luckily, Jimmy Leah, who lived across the street, runs across, chases the guy out, and they still never found who it was. And Mrs. Epstein wore the same shoes all the time, and they weren't tied. And she never took them off.
Now that you've cheered us all up, Hugh, thank you. That was touching. A lot of people may not remember. I'm sure people in this room remember that there was a 5 and 10 here. I can only barely remember it. I bought Mexican jumping beans in there, memorably for me. Here's an ad for Santa's Gold Rush. This is one of the promotions that people could band together. I don't know if in one of our pictures you could see there was an image of one of the Chamber of Commerce offices. There were Chamber of Commerce offices at different locations on Main Street throughout the decades. But obviously with the exodus of the small privately owned, like, mom and pop shop, it's very hard to get international conglomerates to, band together and run a Santa promotion. It's very hard to get permission from corporate to do that, but so...
They don't believe in Santa Claus.
I love this because the first prize is an exciting 7-day cruise to Nassau in the Bahamas for 2 people. And second prize is a round trip by air to Miami for 2 people. And some of these, in the 30s and 40s, they would give away truckloads of coal, for example, for people to burn. Or there was cars one year. I mean, it was really amazing prizes, and just seems like so much fun. But there's a lot of fun names of stores here. Fifth Avenue Fashions is here. The Carousel Shop, Buckley's Flowers, Brill's. Hagedorn's Music Shop. And on it goes. Yeah, a lot of ladies wear, yeah. And here is an exciting moment, also to be filed under the More Things Change, because we all know that Santa came by helicopter recently and nobody was pleased about it, but here was Santa coming by airplane. Do you remember this, Hugh?
No, I'm not that old, Bess. Yes, I remember reading about it. The plane landed on Village Green. Santa came and landed on Village Green, but there were 2 other Christmas decorations in this village years ago. In front of Hook Windmill, there was a giant angel. And down by Town Pond, in that little area where everybody drives through when they want to hit the Hedges house, right? There was an angel down there, too. And the Lineros worked on that with Ralph Carpentier. There were these 2. I've seen a picture of one of the angels, but I think it's in Suffolk News or something, so we couldn't find it.
We tried.
Yeah.
I don't know what the population of the village was. Somebody's saying 10,000.
That might have been the town. That might have been the town.
Oh, they used to be able to tell what the population was by the circulation of the East Hampton Star, because almost every household had one. And I know at one point, it was 24,000 or whatever, and that's how many households there were. And now nobody actually has really hard figures on our population. They really don't. Believe it or not, like the census is not considered entirely reliable for various reasons. This is, in fact, I think, our last slide. And so...
You can applaud.
So the idea now is that people want to share a little anecdote or a memory that we could,
I've promised you that we will ask if Olivia will speak first. We're trying keep it 3 minutes or less.
Hi, my name's Olivia Brooks. I was born here. My dad had a music store on Main Street. I worked in it for every holiday. It was a lot of fun. And my big story is, I'll share it all with you, is that one day a young mother came in and she brought in her daughter, and they were looking for a guitar for her. Now, meanwhile, I had never played an instrument in my life. So this mom came in with her daughter, and she said, I'd like to get a guitar for my daughter. And I said, well, here's one. It's kind of small. It has gut strings. It might be easy for her fingers if she's just learning how to play a guitar. So she said, but her dad is going to be in next weekend, and so why don't we decide then as to what guitar she can get if she does. So the following weekend, in walked this little girl, and her dad was with her, and I look and I see in front of me Bob Dylan.
Oh.
And guess what? He bought the guitar. It was about $28, and I was pleased as punch.
Yay, that's good. That's perfect. Okay? Perfect.
Take our next question from the comment from the other side. Anybody
That's it?
else?
I'm sure somebody must have a comment or a heckling that
Corey?
they've been postponing.
Then maybe they want to go home. Maybe they want to go home.
Anybody else?
Hi, I just wanted to tell you about one other property, a Marley property on Newtown Lane. I understand, I just, to this way. I just have some papers to show Hugh King later. It must have been in a hardware store. It would be 2325 Newtown Lane, right next to where Lions Bar used to be or whatever. And also, when I owned that building, it was formerly a laundry. And then the LVIS rented it. The LVIS Books rented it. So anyway, that's just another property on Newtown Lane.
Oh, thank you, Corinne. Even though it's probably not true.
I don't know if everyone is aware of the exhibit on this subject that's actually got a lot more buildings that they've done here in the Long Island collection. There's a lot of pictures, and it covers it. There's some overlap with what Hugh and I have done, but there's also information there that we didn't include, so you might want to check it out in the Long Island collection. It's really cool.
It's open tomorrow between 1 and 4:30. Is that correct? Okay. You should go see it. They really did a wonderful job.
We've got another comment in the back, or we don't? We do.
Thank you.
Hugh, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. 1961.
Oh,
Jim
wait a minute,
Field
Jimmy
and Joan
Field.
Field were married, and we shared our marriage at the VFW building. Red Lincoln was the people that played for us,
Oh.
and that was in the old VFW building, 1961.
How much did you pay for the rent the building?
Ooh, I don't know, Hugh.
No?
It's cheap.
And I've got another comment over here.
Just a
Mhm.
reminder of what a magical place it was when the stores were all unique. Whitman Gallery, we went in every year. I'm not a proper local. I've just vacationed here for 55 years. But we would go into the Whitman Gallery, and there would always be something gorgeous. And one year I went by, and there was a necklace in the window, and it was 4 or 5 different stones made into a little heart. And I just thought it was the prettiest. I didn't want it. I just wanted everyone in my family to see it because it was so pretty. And I dragged them all over, and I was like, gotta see this beautiful necklace. And didn't it appear under my Christmas tree that year? My dad got it for me.
What did she say? She still has it? Oh.
I wanted to mention how a lot of these stores would participate in things like bowling leagues or softball teams, and I noticed there was something really funny. I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but the Bohack's grocery store had a softball team, and they had a really funny name, and I think it might have been the Bohack's Discounts. Somebody will, if I've got that wrong, you'll tell me, but it was fun. There's another comment in the back.
Just piggybacking onto the gentleman's wedding at the VFW, I remember when we were kids and all we ever wanted to do was get onto the beach. But my father discovered that you could have breakfast, pancake breakfast at the VFW. I think it was $1.
Hi. My grandmother was also one of the operators in the telephone, first operator with her sister Julia Loper, Florence McGurk.
She did?
And
Yeah.
she was. And she also worked at the news company and Home Sweet Home.
Oh. Wait a minute, who's your grandmother? Who's your grandmother?
Florence McGurk.
Oh, that's right, Florence McGurk. Right.
So my father was Robert Rudershan, that the parking lot's named after, and we always got black labs from Tony Cangelosi, and my father had E.T. Dayton, and the black lab would go to work with him every day, and the only postman who had a car or a van would stop in front of the shop, pick up the black lab, and take him on his route, and then drop him off at the end of the day.
You know how Robert Rudershan got to do that parking lot?
Well,
Steve Marley was the mayor during that time. And there were buildings back there that they had to get rid of. And they were having difficulty. But Steve Marley knew some of those people back there, so he recused himself from it and then gave it to Robert Rudershan, who shepherded that through.
Well, he was a village trustee.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his main jobs as the trustee was to create that whole assemblage and condemnation for the parking lot. And then once the parking lot was complete, he unfortunately was hit by a car coming out of Gordon's restaurant.
Right.
And was killed, and they, as a memorial, named it after him.
Well, he did all the work to put that together, too.
Right, yeah.
Yes. I remember fondly working for your Aunt Mary Rattray at the Promised Land on Newtown Lane from about 1978 through, 1985. And piggybacking on Olivia's comment, Mary gave me a shot as a young 14-year-old obsessed with fashion. And one day I was stocking and ironing, and I turned around, and who walked in but Ralph Lauren, and my jaw was dropped. But he, in turn, has done so much for the beauty of the village. And
Right.
Hi, my name is Elaine Lifton. My grandfather in the 1920s opened up the East Hampton Tea Room, or Candy Kitchen as it's also known, George Stavropoulos.
Cool.
I sent you that information. Did you get it?
No.
I did. I mailed it to the Bridgehampton Candy Kitchen. I mailed you the information about the Candy Kitchen beginning in East Hampton.
No, I didn't get anything.
It's in the mail.
That was my grandfather's brother.
I'm so glad you mentioned it. We wanted to bring up the Candy Kitchen, and that's something very much missed.
Well, he had it till the 1940s, and during the war, my father was in the war, but he was patrolling from Montauk to Riverhead, and he went into the store, and he used to have coffee there because coffee was free for all the servicemen, and he met my mother there, and that's how they got married.
Oh.
And they stayed for a while. I was born in Southampton Hospital, and came back every summer, even though we moved later. And this, to me, is like, I don't think there's a more beautiful town anywhere. And
Yeah,
great.
right.
Perfect.
And you know where the Candy Kitchen was? And one of the places where the Candy Kitchen was is, where the Rose Pharmacy, the next store over that became Fifth Avenue Fashions and McGinnis's, that's where the Candy Kitchen was at one time.
I wanted
Yes,
to say,
that's right.
while they're going to one of the final comments, that the reason why some of us in this room founded our nonprofit, the Anchor Society, we're just regular folks trying to find creative ways to try and bring some community back to the village. If anyone wants to help us do that, there's a sign-up sheet out by the stairs by the lemonade and the cookies. there's various projects that we've been trying to do it's on a small scale, but we would welcome the help.
Hi, my name is Dana Lester, and my last name was originally Miller. This is kind of piggybacking on the whole Rose Pharmacy thing. First, I just wanted to mention that Mrs. Bain's first name was Frances, not Florence.
Oh, thank you. Dana was in my class at spring school.
Yes. We were the bicentennial class of 1976.
That's right, Dana.
But anyway,
Thank you,
I
Dana.
worked at Rose Pharmacy, and I have to say that the Bains very much believed in nepotism. My mother worked there, and then I worked there, my sister worked there, my brother worked there, and then there were also other employees who their kids all worked there. So we were all one big family there at Rose Pharmacy, and we all called them Uncle Bill, and it was really a great place to work as a teenager and grow up in.
What is her name again, Florence?
And I worked there till it closed in
That was
1992.
Frances.
And our last comment is going to come from the very front.
The question I had was sort of answered, but maybe other people would be interested in the answer. I'm wondering where Leonard Bernstein lived, and also during like the 60s, 50s and 60s, there were so many people who were Broadway show, writers and authors and singers, and I'm just wondering if they ever participated in any theatrical things that took place in the town.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, right?
That's a whole other show. Because there was the Barrymore family and the Drew family, and they did participate. They took part in all kinds of community events and parades and shows and everything back until I think even as far back as the 1880s. And it's actually super cool because it was such a small town then that they were really a part of the fabric of the village. So that's a whole other thing. And somebody knows where Leonard Bernstein lived? Was it Jeffries Lane? Jeffries Lane.
Don't go there.
So in the interest of keeping us on schedule tonight, I'm going to officially end our event and invite everyone to the back for refreshments and additional conversation with our speakers. Thank you.
It was well done. I taught at spring. Really? 31 years.